Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mass Retirees Weekly Update. Today's Friday, November 15th. I'm Sean Duhamel. Thank you so much for joining with us and tuning in again this week. Now, it goes without saying, but the last week or so has been wild. There has been a lot going on, a lot of ups and downs. We have been traveling, focus on everything from Social Security WEP GPO, of course, to retiree health insurance, to the COLA. There are a lot of balls in the air, as they say, in terms of the things right now that we're directly involved in. But before I get to that, let me first remind you of three very important upcoming Mass Retirees meetings. Starting today at 1 o'clock this afternoon Eastern Time, we will be hosting our members-only Tele-Town Hall event. If you are available this afternoon, again, we have a lot going on. We're going to talk about these issues in detail. Most importantly, we're going to take questions directly from our members. There are two ways that you can participate in the town hall. First of all, if we have your phone number, whether it's your home phone number or your cell phone, you will receive an automated call today at 1 o'clock from me inviting you to join the town hall. All you need to do is answer the phone, stay on the line, you will be automatically connected. You can also call the toll-free number that's on the back of your membership card. However, we would prefer for you to get the automated call. That saves us a little bit of money, which it's always important to be budget conscious. Now, next Tuesday, also at 1 o'clock, we will be holding a special members-only seminar with our friends from EO that's going to focus on the various aspects of medical marijuana. We will have clinicians, medical experts. Dr. Brooke Worcester will be hosting the meeting. We've already had several dozen Mass Retirees members pre-register for the meeting. Look to today's email message from us. It will have the information of how you can connect to that meeting. If you're just interested in learning more about all this topic, if you have specific questions, this is an opportunity for you to learn a little bit, ask the questions, come away with some more knowledge. And then next Friday, on Friday, November 22nd, we will be holding our annual area meeting down at White's of Westport in Westport, Mass. It's our annual South Coast meeting. It is one of the more the higher turnout meetings we have. We should have several hundred retirees at the meeting next week in Westport. The meeting kicks off at 11 a.m. Our virtual meetings always start at 1 p.m. That we try to accommodate the different time zones across the country, but our area meetings here in Massachusetts always have an 11 a.m. start time. Again, with everything going on, it is important, A, for you to stay well informed, give you the opportunity to ask questions and talk to us. So if you have a complaint or concern, you want to come see myself or Frank Valeri or other members of our team in person, the area meetings are the way to do that. We will hold one final area meeting in December in Auburn, and we will be providing you with the details on that meeting in the coming weeks. Now, as I said at the outset, we have been very busy. You know that last week, Nancy McGovern and I were in Washington, D.C. Our close friend and ally from the Texas Retired Teachers Association, Tim Lee, joined us. The healthcare conference was excellent. We will have more information for you next week in terms of retiree healthcare, as well as a full report in the upcoming January edition of The Voice. But while we were in D.C., as we have reported in the past, Tim and I spent considerable time on Thursday on Capitol Hill meeting with both Republican and Democratic leadership staff, Social Security staff, advocating for the bill to be brought to the floor, which of course it occurred on Tuesday, to give our members, retirees from across the country, the opportunity to finally be heard on this issue and finally for a vote to occur on this issue. And we are very, very pleased, and hopefully by now you've heard the good news, that by a vote of 327 to 75 with one member, Congressman Jason Smith from Missouri, who's the chairman of the House Ways and Means Committee, he voted present. But again, by a vote of 327 yes to 75 no, more than two-thirds majority of the House voted to approve a full repeal of both the WEP and the GPO. Now, this is the first time in the 41-year history of these issues that a bill has ever come out of committee, never mind actually coming up for a vote on the floor of either the House or the Senate. It has never happened before. In the past, there have always been obstacles, there have always been reasons. Things have fallen apart at the last minute. And that's largely why our association, along with our friends in Texas, about a decade ago, started focusing on an interim approach of a reform of the WEP to put more money in our members' pockets. The ultimate goal, of course, has always been full repeal of WEP and GPO, that retirees, whether you're a current retiree or future retiree, everyone should be entitled to receive what you paid for and what you earned under Social Security. Nothing less. But we didn't anticipate this year the stars finally aligning, and thank God they did, for a bill to pass the House with that kind of support. Now, the legislation is now in the U.S. Senate, and we are doing everything possible, working with our national allies and individual retirees who have been tenacious on this issue and have been have persevered over the last several years of continuing to advocate at the grassroots level for something to finally happen. And thankfully in the House, we have had two fantastic co-sponsors of H.R. 82, Congressman Garrett Graves and Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger. Neither Congressman Graves nor Congresswoman Spanberger were up for re-election to the House, but they did everything possible to force the vote, filed the discharge petition, bring the bill to the floor, and ultimately were successful. Now, as I started to say, the bill is in the Senate. We now, on record, have 61 current U.S. senators on record supporting full repeal. We need a minimum of 60 votes, however, to pass a bill through the Senate. So the margins are very tight. And collectively, we're doing everything we can to expand that majority, to go well beyond 61 senators. But at this time, at the time of this recording on Thursday, the official count is still 61. So again, the margins are tight, and we are advocating for Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who's a U.S. Senator from the state of New York, who has the full discretion to set the Senate calendar, bring a bill to the floor. We are urging Senator Schumer to schedule a vote on either H.R. 82 or Senate 597. The two bills are identical, so if either bill were to pass the Senate, this legislation will be fully approved, go to President Biden for his signature, and President Biden is already on record supporting full repeal. So the sooner we can bring this to the floor of the Senate, get it done, get it to the president, the better off everyone's going to be. Now, in the past, the major obstacle of getting a bill through the Senate was the fact that we just simply did not have the support. This year is the first time ever that we have had a supermajority of support in the U.S. Senate. In past sessions, at the most, we had 55 U.S. senators in support, which were 5 votes fewer than what were needed to move a bill forward. In the past, the Senate Republican leadership, led by Senator McConnell from Kentucky, has been steadfastly opposed to full repeal. So moving a bill through the Senate to fully repeal WEP and GPO in the past was a dead end. And again, that was part of our reasoning of focusing on what was viable in terms of passing both branches of Congress versus just continuing to go down a dead-end road and deliver nothing for our members. Thankfully, the political dynamic seems to be changing. Now, just this week, Senate Republicans elected a new Senate leader. Senator John Thune from South Dakota will be the Senate Majority Leader in the new session. Of course, the Republican Party will control the U.S. Senate, the House of Representatives, and the White House in the new session starting in January. So the window of opportunity under the current Congress to move this legislation forward is very limited. As of now, the U.S. Senate and the House of Representatives are scheduled to adjourn for the year, end their formal business on December 20th. If this legislation is not passed by the time that the Senate adjourns, the bill will have to be refiled in the new session. Everything will start all over again, brand new. We do not want to go down that path. We believe that we have momentum on our side, again, that the stars have finally aligned politically to perhaps get this through. Now, we don't fully know the position of the Republican leadership. Senator Thune has not taken a position on weapon GPO in the past. He is not a current co-sponsor of Senate 597, so his position is not publicly known. We're hopeful that Senator Thune and other Republican senators will join this effort, join with their Republican colleagues in the House, pass this legislation, but we just don't know. As I'm speaking on Thursday, we have multiple organizations, some from Massachusetts, the Mass Coalition of Police, for instance, known as MassCop, and association member John Nelson, who's a retired Peabody police officer. John is also the executive vice president, I believe his title is, and John, I'm sorry if I messed that up, of MassCop. John has been present personally on Capitol Hill all this week, actively lobbying first in the House and now in the Senate to get this done. Here in Massachusetts, we have been in direct contact with Senator Markey's office as well as Senator Warren in hopes of moving this forward. Both of them are co-sponsors of Senate 597 and have committed to doing everything they can to work with Senator Schumer to bring this issue to the floor. Again, time is of the essence. Now, if we are successful, current retirees who have been harmed by WEP or GPO, meaning that your Social Security benefit has been reduced by the WEP, reduced by the GPO, or even eliminated by the GPO, you would be made whole. Your Social Security benefit would be increased from the effective date of this legislation going forward. There are no retroactive payments coming from money that you may have lost in the past. However, the way the bill is currently drafted has an effective date of January 1st, 2023. That was the date of the new congressional session. So if that date holds, once Social Security amends everybody's benefit, readjusts everybody's benefit, recalculates the benefit, which is going to take at least several months. We're hoping that they can get it done as soon as possible. But if the January 1st, 2023 date holds, everyone who's affected by either WEP or GPO currently will be owed a retroactive check going back to that time. So we will keep you posted on those finer details. But the bottom line is we have a window of opportunity here to get this done and provide significant relief to our members. And this has been years in the making. For those of you who have been a member of Mass Retirees for a number of years, you know how involved we have been in this issue. Mass Retirees, our involvement goes all the way back to when these laws were first created in 1983. We were among the organizations, among the first organizations, as a matter of fact, back then, saying that this was a mistake, calling into question why Congress went ahead and did this, that it was flawed, and we have opposed the creation of weapon GPO right from the very beginning. And we have fought tooth and nail for the past 41 years to either fully repeal or at the very least reform these laws to provide relief to public retirees. Because as we have said, you paid for these benefits, you earned these benefits, and you deserve to receive these benefits in your retirement. Now, in more recent years, really over the past decade, it's been Mass Retirees and our friends, the Texas retired teachers, who have been most directly involved in this issue across the country. It seemed at times that we were amongst the only groups that still held out hope that something could change. And together, we have worked on this, and I'd like to believe that due to our work and the work of all of our members of writing letters and emails and speaking directly with your local members of Congress and your U.S. senators, that we've not only kept these issues alive, but we helped to generate public awareness, helped to elevate these issues and just in terms of the congressional focus. And because of that work over a very long period of time by quite a few people, that we've arrived at the point that we're at today, that we are on the verge of being able to finally rid ourselves of a 41-year mistake and make you whole. That's the goal. But to be cautiously optimistic, there's a lot of work to be done. At this time, we can only lose 2 votes in the Senate or the legislation is dead. That's why time is of the essence, and that's why we're urging you, if you have not already done so, contact your local U.S. senators. Every state has 2 senators. Contact the 2 senators that represent you. Explain that you're a public retiree living in their state. Explain the fact that you paid into Social Security, you earned this benefit, or your spouse did, and now in retirement you are being denied a benefit that you earned, that you deserve, and that you rely upon. And the fact that the unfairness of these laws has caused a great deal of financial harm to more than 2.8 million retirees across the country who are now affected by WEP GPO. That's the kind of grassroots work that gets this done. We don't put out form letters. We don't put out standardized talking points. If you're a member of Congress or a senator and you get 100 identical emails all saying the exact same thing, they go right into the trash bin. It does not have the desired effect that a message from your heart explaining in your own words, in very simple terms, the direct impact on you and why this is important to you as a constituent of that elected official. So with that, again, we have a lot going on here in Massachusetts with the COLA, with healthcare. Next week's update will be all about healthcare. Blue Cross and Blue Shield is hosting its Labor Advisory Committee meeting that we are a part of. And next Thursday, the Group Insurance Commission will hold an in-person meeting to start laying out the public plans for your health insurance benefits next year. That meeting will also include a presentation from the Healthcare Policy Commission, which is going to be extremely important. We will be present at the GIC's meeting as well. If you are a member of our association, please look to today's email message for further information. If you're available this afternoon at 1 p.m. and you're a member, participate in the town hall. If you have questions, concerns, complaints, that's a great forum for you to be able to present those directly to us. With that, thank you so much for tuning in, and I look forward to getting back to you again next week with any breaking news that we have. Bye-bye, everybody.